In 1963, a man in a quiet, unassuming town in Turkey decided it was time for a simple home renovation. His house, like many in the area, was old, built of local stone, with a cool, damp cellar carved directly into the soft earth beneath it. He wanted to expand his basement to make more space for his growing family. He took a sledgehammer to a soft, crumbling wall in the farthest corner of the cellar, expecting to find nothing but the solid, volcanic bedrock of the Anatolian Plateau behind it. But with the first heavy swing, the wall gave way with a strange, hollow thud, a sound that didn't belong. A cascade of dust and loose rock tumbled to the floor, revealing not solid stone, but a dark, man-made chamber he never knew existed. He peered into the silent blackness and saw a smooth-walled tunnel disappearing deep into the earth. The man had no idea at that moment, but he had not just found a hidden room or a secret cellar. He had stumbled upon the entrance to a lost subterranean metropolis, an 18-story deep underground city, vast enough to shelter 20 people from the cataclysms of the ancient world. He had found the entrance to Derinkuyu. But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any of our new, incredible stories. Our story, and the story of Derinkuyu, begins not with a man and a sledgehammer, but with the land itself, millions of years ago. To understand the sheer possibility of this secret city, you must first understand the unique geological canvas upon which it was built, the region of Cappadocia in central Turkey. This is not an ordinary landscape. For millions of years, this entire region was a violent, fiery hotbed of volcanic activity. Ancient volcanoes, now dormant giants on the horizon like Mount Ursius and Mount Hassan, erupted with colossal force, blanketing hundreds of square miles of the Anatolian Plateau in a thick, dense layer of hot volcanic ash. Over countless millennia, this ash compressed under its own immense weight, hardening into a unique and remarkable type of rock known as tuff. Then, two of nature's most patient and powerful artist wind and water began their slow, deliberate work of sculpting. They eroded the soft, tough rock, carving it into a surreal, dreamlike landscape of towering cones, jagged pillars, and bizarre mushroom-shaped pinnacles known today as fairy chimneys. It's a place that looks like it was plucked from the pages of a science fiction epic. But the true magic of this strange rock was not just its otherworldly beauty, but its extraordinary properties. Volcanic tuff is, paradoxically, both soft and strong. It is soft enough to be easily carved and shaped with simple, primitive tool picks and shovels made of wood and harder stone. Yet, upon exposure to the air, the surface of the tuff hardens and becomes incredibly durable, creating stable, long-lasting structures. It was the perfect natural construction material, a geological gift from the Earth. And it was this gift that the ancient inhabitants of this region would use to create one of the most astonishing and enduring architectural wonders on the entire planet. The history of human settlement in Cappadocia is a long, complex, and often turbulent story of empires rising and falling. The region has been a strategic crossroads of civilizations for thousands of years. The earliest major power to control the area were the Hittites, a formidable Bronze Age empire that clashed with the ancient Egyptians. While there is no definitive proof, some archaeologists theorize that the Hittites may have carved the very first, most primitive levels of these underground structures as early as 1500 BC. However, it is their successors, the Phrygians, an Indo-European people who dominated the region between the 12th and 8th centuries BC, who are now widely credited by most historians as the likely originators of the more complex underground cities. The Phrygians were highly skilled architects and engineers, known for their monumental rock-cut tombs. It's believed they began the first significant excavations at Derinkuyu, carving the soft, tough rock to create multi-roomed cellars. Initially, these were likely used for practical purposes, as storage areas to keep their grain, wine, and other perishable goods at a cool, stable temperature, safe from the region's harsh, snowy winters and scorching hot summers. But these simple subterranean storage spaces would soon evolve out of a much more desperate and primal need, the need for defense and survival. The Anatolian Peninsula has always been a land of conflict, a bridge between East and West that countless armies have marched across. After the Phrygians, the region fell to the Persians under Cyrus the Great, and later it was conquered by the armies of Alexander the Great. For the local populations caught in the crossfire of Nissig's great empires, the ability to disappear from the surface world to retreat into the cool, dark safety of the earth was the ultimate survival strategy. However, the greatest and most significant catalyst for the massive expansion of these underground cities was the rise and spread of a new global religion, Christianity. Cappadocia became one of the earliest and most important centers of Christian thought and monasticism in the world. Great theologians like Basil the Great and Gregory of Nyssa, known collectively as the Cappadocian Fathers, lived and worked here in the 4th century AD, and their writings were instrumental in shaping the core tenets of Christian theology. But this new faith often found itself in direct, violent conflict with the ruling powers. During the Roman Empire, early Christians faced waves of brutal and systematic persecution. They were seen as a threat to the established order, and their refusal to worship the Roman emperors as gods was considered an act of treason. The ability to retreat into a hidden subterranean world was not just a military strategy. It was a means of preserving their culture, their communities, and their very faith. This desperate need for a sanctuary became even more critical between the 7th and 11th centuries during the long and bloody Arab-Byzantine Wars. Waves of raiding armies swept across Cappadocia, and the Christian communities were a primary target. The surface world was a place of constant, unpredictable danger, so they went deeper and deeper. What had begun as Hittite root cellars and Phrygian storage rooms were now transformed by these devout Christian communities. They expanded the existing tunnels, carved new levels, and engineered a true subterranean city. Derinkuyu, the largest and most complex of these, became their ultimate sanctuary, a sprawling underground metropolis that could shelter thousands from the chaos above. For centuries, its existence was a closely guarded secret, a hidden world that protected entire generations until that fateful home renovation in 1963 brought its long-lost story back into the light of the modern world. When the local resident knocked down that basement wall, he was met with a profound, ancient darkness. He lit a simple lamp, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and intense curiosity, and cautiously stepped through the opening. He found himself in a small, tunnel-like room, its walls remarkably smooth. At the other end was another passage. He followed it, and it opened into another, larger room. And from that room, a set of expertly carved stairs spiraled even deeper into the earth. Realizing he had found something far beyond a simple hidden cellar, something of immense historical importance, he immediately alerted the local authorities in his town of Nevşehir. Soon, archaeologists and historians from Ankara arrived at the modest home, their minds buzzing with excitement and disbelief. The initial excavation began. They cleared the debris from the first few rooms, their modern, powerful flashlights cutting through centuries of absolute darkness, and the true, mind-boggling scale of what lay hidden beneath this sleepy town began to dawn on them. Every time they thought they had reached the end, every time they believed they had found the bottom, they would clear a pile of rubble and find another staircase, another air shaft, another tunnel leading them further and further down into the geological and historical abyss. It was a breathtaking, multi-year process of discovery and excavation. The team of researchers soon realized they weren't just clearing out a large cave. They were unveiling a masterpiece of ancient engineering and urban planning, a vertical city that defied all expectations. They descended from the first level, then the second, then the fifth, then the 10th. The city plunged an astonishing 85 meters, nearly 280 feet, into the earth, comprising at least 18 distinct, stacked levels of living and working space. The sheer scale was staggering. Archaeologists and engineers calculated that the city of Derinkuyu was vast enough to house up to 20 people-men, women, and children along with their essential livestock and enough food supplies to last for months at a time. But what truly astounded the researchers, what turned this from a fascinating discovery into a world-class wonder, was not just the city's incredible size, but its unbelievable level of sophistication. This was not a crude bunker for peasants to hide in. It was a meticulously planned, fully functional, and ingeniously designed subterranean society. One of the first and most awe-inspiring discoveries was the city's formidable defense system. The inhabitants of Derinkuyu were masters of security, and their lives depended on it. The primary entrances on each level were protected by massive, circular stone doors. As the archaeologists ventured deeper, they solved one of the city's greatest and most pressing puzzles. How could 20 people possibly breathe so deep underground? The answer was a testament to the builders' incredible foresight and engineering genius. They had designed and carved a complex and extensive ventilation system. Over 52 separate ventilation shafts, some plunging the entire 85-meter depth of the city from the surface to the lowest level, were eventually discovered. These main shafts provided a constant flow of fresh, clean air. From these main arteries, a network of thousands of smaller, secondary shafts branched off, ensuring every single room and corridor in the city, no matter how deep or remote, remained habitable. It was an engineering feat that would be impressive even by modern standards, let alone for builders with simple hand tools thousands of years ago. But a city needs more than air and defenses to survive. It needs to be completely self-sufficient, and Derinkuyu was designed for exactly that. The upper levels, closer to the surface, were primarily used for living quarters and for housing livestock. Archaeologists found numerous rock-cut stables, complete with mangers for feeding and tethers carved directly into the stone walls. Keeping the animals on the upper levels was a clever decision, as it helped contain the smell and provided a source of natural, radiating warmth that would filter down to the lower living quarters, a kind of ancient geothermal heating. Deeper still, they found a city bustling with all the necessities of life. There were vast communal storage rooms for grain and dried foods, sophisticated wine and oil presses, cellars for fermentation, and communal kitchens, their ceilings still blackened with the soot of ancient fires. They even found a fully functional religious school, or missionary, with its distinctively vaulted ceilings and small adjacent study rooms for students. On one of the lowest levels, they discovered a spacious cruciform church, its ceiling carved in the shape of a grand cross, a poignant and powerful reminder of the deep faith that drove these people to seek refuge in the heart of the earth. To sustain the entire population, a deep, well-provided, clean, fresh water. This well was accessible from multiple levels, but crucially, it did not connect to the surface, preventing any would-be enemies from poisoning their vital water supply. Perhaps the most mind-boggling discovery of all was the realization that Derinkuyu, as vast as it was not alone. As the excavations continued and knowledge of the region grew, researchers found that the city was just one node in a massive, interconnected subterranean network. It is now believed that a tunnel, several kilometers long, connects Derinkuyu to another nearby underground city, Keimakla. In total, over 200 separate underground cities and villages have been discovered in the Cappadocia region, with at least 40 of them reaching 3 or more levels deep. It was a hidden empire beneath the earth, a network of sanctuaries connected by secret passages, allowing for mass communication, trade, and movement between communities, all completely invisible to the turbulent world above. The discovery of Derinkuyu fundamentally changed our understanding of ancient history, architecture, and human ingenuity. It was a testament to the incredible lengths people will go to survive, to protect their families, their culture, and their faith. The city was eventually cleared, stabilized, and opened to the public, becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Turkey's most fascinating and popular tourist attractions. Today, visitors can descend into its cool, silent corridors and walk through the same rooms where people lived, worked, prayed, and hid for thousands of years. It is an eerie, profound, and humbling experience to stand deep within the earth and touch the walls of a school, a stable, or a church carved by hand so long ago. The story of Derinkuyu is a powerful reminder that history is not always written in the grand pyramids and towering monuments we see on the surface. Sometimes, the greatest stories of human resilience, faith, and determination are buried deep beneath our feet, waiting for a curious homeowner with a sledgehammer to knock down the right wall. Thank you so much for watching. If you were captivated by the story of this lost underground city, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our next journey into the unknown.